you're gonna if you're playing online, you're gonna be at a serious disadvantage,
Right, yeah,
like
obviously.
because everybody else is gonna be moving much faster than you are, and it just seems like it's gonna get old really fast.
Well, there's this comic someone posted, and it made a good point. It's basically Connect could be very useful if it was used in conjunction with a controller, for separate things that could be really complicated and hard to do with a controller, and the voice recognition could be very helpful. But Microsoft doesn't want to do that. They want to have just the Kinect. They don't want Kinect plus controller. So they're gonna have to sort that out going forward. Um,
It's kind of why I thought the Move originally thought it had some cool potential because it used a camera and a controller.
right,
But like Sony's not investing in it at all because
right,
I think they're just I don't know. I felt like they just kind of pushed it out onto stage and then let it tell. They're letting it tell jokes while they put together the next game in the back to
right.
display for everybody.
Um, I mean, I think um, the AAA games from both Sony and third parties will get, at least rudimentary move support, like, Resident Evil 5. Little Big Planet has it, I guess, for,
Just a
creation and
sec.
stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, you can play the whole game. I think you can play the whole single player campaign too with the Move controller.
Hmm.
And then as much as I didn't particularly enjoy Killzone 3,
Hmm.
it looked like with a Move controller it would have been a bit, you know, more tolerable.
Right.
Because essentially it was just Call of Duty with a different backdrop. I didn't like it.
Um, as for the Wii U specifically, I kind of feel like it's a transitional system, um, in the way that before the Wii, they really focused on the casuals. With the Wii U, they're saying up front, we want both the casuals and the hardcore gamers. Um, I think maybe next generation they'll be back to focus squarely on, um, the hardcore gamers, because the thing with casual gamers is, you know, they chase fads. That's basically what they do, and
Hmm.
they're not very loyal at all. Um, you know, the
Well,
casual gamers that bought the
honestly, console loyalty is kind of silly whether you're a casual
well, no, I
or
mean, um, loyalty to gaming in general. Li-
yeah,
Like,
it's just it's whatever's fun,
yeah. So the people
whether
that
whether
bought
you're
the Wii
playing the
have
Wii or
now moved on to, the Apple products and maybe the Kinect.
yeah.
Um, but it's a very hard target, very hard audience to hold on to with a console, and especially transitioning to a new console. So I
Hmm.
think Nintendo kind of sees them now as like, um, kind of like scorched earth. They harvested, the money and the casual attention, but now they can't really, get that land fertile again. So they have to go back to hardcore gamers, which are, constantly, buying their products, and they like Mario, but they also like Nintendo's other lesser known properties, and they
Hmm.
give them a shot. So
See, but the problem there though is that there's still a lot of hardcore gamers that felt kind of betrayed by the Wii,
right.
and like not necessarily rightfully so, though I can kind of see where they're coming from.
Mm.
That might think, oh well, Nintendo screwed me over once, why should I trust them? So that's going to be a hard market to break back into.
Yeah, yeah, it will be, and the Wii U will face difficulty, especially if Microsoft and Sony pull out their next consoles and they're like, you know, 50 times as powerful as the Wii U is.
Yeah,
Um,
that's another thing I was thinking because like it's kind of a gamble throwing out your new console before the other people.
it's,
Because
it's very weird. There's never been really a Nintendo console that they've been talking about, whereas at the same time the other people aren't talking about their consoles. So it's kind
yeah,
of like, kind of gives like a very empty feeling, I think. There's nothing to compare it to.
yeah,
That
the
said, I don't think that that was a that's a super likely possibility that the Microsoft and Sony's next systems will be super powerful. I think they'll be more powerful, but the thing you have to realize is that they're all going to run at the same resolution, which is
Yeah,
huge.
1080. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all going to run at 1080p. There aren't going to be, there's not going to be a resolution disparity, and there's not going to be a huge power disparity, I think. So
Yeah. I think it's going to be about power and speed this next generation.
I think it's going to be about downloaded content,
Ah, that
honestly.
too. Yeah, I did notice that in the past two E3s have been a serious like a war between Sony and Microsoft to get like as much exclusive downloadable content as possible.
Hmm. Like, what do you
I
mean?
think like well, like you know what I mean by exclusive downloadable content, of course.
Right.
Um like the like timed exclusives like you remember the first Fallout New Vegas add-on was originally a timed exclusive for Microsoft.
Right.
And it's all about money hatting, really.
Hmm.
And they want to get the downloadable content will eventually come to everyone, but whatever console is getting it first is the one that has the advantage, and I think that's what they're fighting over now.
Right. Yeah, that's probably true. Um, but in your opinion, has that died down any? Did we see any of that this C3?
Actually, we did. I think Sony Sony did with like with the new Star Trek game, they're getting an exclusive prequel downloadable title.
Mm.
There was some like and it's not coming down to whoever has the most exclusive games anymore. It's whoever has the most exclusive content for those games. Like the move support for the new BioShock game.
Mm.
I think they're throwing that out to sort of be able to say, "Oh, look at us. We have the more complete version of the game. Don't buy it from Microsoft. You can buy it
Mm.
from us, and we'll give you a version that has even more stuff."
Right.
And I think there was a few exclusive downloadable content things that Sony threw out, and that's
Mm.
I think it's silly, but that's where the money is, I guess.
Yeah. I
I
also
mean,
think
like,
downloads on handhelds is going to be big,
yeah,
especially
definitely
if you go
after,
by the
so,
Vita, which has the 3G connection.
yeah,
Um, they're obviously going to leverage that,
and
for a lot of
I don't think
content.
it doesn't. There's just going to be downloadable games too, just like the PSP Go was.
Mm.
So that's everything is going to be downloadable on the Vita. And
Yeah.
I admire Sony for that, but I don't think it's gonna. I think it's gonna take a bit for it to catch on. Like the Vita might be what pushes it to finally catch on, though.
Right. Uh,
Especially with like the Sony fanboys eat up Uncharted,
right.
and they're releasing a Vita Uncharted game, so obviously people are going to want it.
Um, yeah. If they did something like timed, it was timed that it was only on the downloadable store. I think they could really push people to check that out.
Yeah, and plus they have all this. They have all the like PlayStation 1 titles that are you can download to play on the PS3 or like kind of like the Virtual Console.
Uh huh.
Only you can play them on your PSP or your Vita too.
Right.
And I'm thinking next gen we're going to start seeing both with Sony and Nintendo, we're going to start seeing downloadable GameCube and PlayStation 2 games.
I think that might be a possibility on Wii U. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, both the next generation with like PS4, Vita, and Wii U.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That is a definite possibility, but it all depends on Nintendo. Do
Yeah.
they? I mean, they're obviously cutting backwards compatibility with the GameCube, so maybe it's time for that to become available, I guess.
Yeah,
Um,
and especially since GameCube games really aren't that big.
right. I mean, Twilight Princess was like 1.3 gigabytes or something.
Jeez.
Yeah, they
It's like
squeezed a
the
lot
same
in.
it's like the same size as Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah. Yeah, they were able to do a lot with such little. Um, Not having orchestrated music obviously helped with that.
Yeah.
Um, Speaking of Zelda, there's a lot of Zelda focused by Nintendo at the C3. There
Yeah, I did
was
notice that.
the Four Swords DSiWare. There's the music concerts and music CDs. There was um, um, Ocarina of Time 3D is coming out, like next week or something. Obviously Skyward Sword, and there was something else too. Um, one other game.
Link's Awakening.
Right, Link's Awakening on the handheld virtual console.
That's actually one of my favorite Zelda games.
I haven't played it. I really
Oh,
want to.
you should. It's very fun. It's got a story. Like as much Zelda games I've never really been into the story because they're kind of thin.
Right.
Um, but I think the Link's Awakening had the most impactful story of any Zelda game I've played.
Well, I really want to play it because Link to the Past is my favorite Zelda game, and Link's Awakening seems to, build off of that.
Yeah. Well, have you heard the ending to Link's Awakening?
Yeah, the thing that's in,
Oh,
in
that
the title.
give that. Well, yeah, it is in the title, but but just I don't know. It's one of those games that is much more enjoyable if you don't know the ending beforehand. So
Yeah, it's one of those games that's kind of been ruined by the internet.
yeah,
It's kind of like the situation with, Pokemon Gold Silver. Now everybody knows, Kanto comes after Johto, but back then, it was so mind blowing, you know.
yeah. I remember I was pretty confused by that as a kid because my first Pokemon game was Crystal,
Uh huh.
and I beat the Elite Four, and I was like, oh, the game's over, and I'm like, what is this?
Yeah. Yeah, but it didn't take that much time to go through Kanto.
Yeah, but what else happened to C3?
But are you excited about Skyward Sword at all?
Uh, Not particularly.
Hmm.
I've said it before. I'm not really into 3D Zelda games. They don't. I don't even know what I don't like about them. I don't enjoy them that much.
This could be the one.
It could be, but like I'm not really gonna get my hopes up about it
Yeah.
because like when you've it's like going to see the final Star Wars movie after you hated all the rest.
Hmm.
It's like this could be the one. But no, it's got Hayden Christensen in it, so
Well,
forget
yeah.
about
Um. Well, it looks exciting to me. I mean, it's kind of like, a 3D puzzle game, and there aren't really many of its type, out there. Um,
it.
and
Yeah,
I mean, do you like other Zelda-like games like Okami or
I
uh,
haven't played Okami still. That's on my list of games to check out eventually.
or Darksiders?
I did not play Darksiders either.
Huh, okay.
You see, I told you I'm poor.
Yeah.
It's it's not a choice that I don't get to play all these games. That's why I find so many games that have like lots of replay value. That's why Fallout New Vegas was my favorite game of last year.
Mm,
Well, that and the fact that it's probably the best written game I've ever played. But
yeah. I feel your pain. Um, as for Okami, I didn't. I still haven't beaten it. But what I have played, I haven't liked as much as Zelda Twilight Princess. Steph and I kind of argue about that a lot. She likes Okami much more, um, but I prefer Zelda. Um, but I guess it comes down to your preferences.
yeah, yeah, it's I'm kind of weird about games in that like somebody could show me a game that's almost exactly like my favorite, but I just won't like it. Like it's not. I don't. I try not to stick to particular types of games. Just try to find the game that I enjoy.
Mm,
Like even tower defense games. Some tower defense games I like. Some tower defense games I don't. Whereas like at their core, they're all the same game.
right.